major artist exhibit going on at Lamar University on this day, and I absolutely had to visit it. And so this is my ride up to that event. But I did have to make a couple of pit stops along the way. And with this being in the middle of summer in Southeast Texas, let me just remind you that if you do not have a liquid-cooled engine, please exercise caution as you ride through the extreme heat. Yes, the fast air can cool down your engine if it's air-cooled and oil-cooled. But if you overdo it too much, it can still overheat. I have been in rides where the heat index topped over 112 degrees and it's still overheated in crystal clear highway traffic. So please, make sure you have plenty of oil in the engine and make sure the heat index is not above 110, because prolonged riding on highway speeds can overheat your engine with that heat index. Especially on Texas highways where 75 to 80 miles per hour is the norm. So exercise caution right there. That's my motorcycle riding tip of the day. On the deep bottom left corner of the frame here, you will see a light fixture. That is additional headlights in case you get into really dark roads and need additional lighting. It can be powered by the auxiliary switch on the fork of the bike. And it provides adequate lighting, even more adequate lighting than the standard headlights on the Variant. So I'm very grateful to have that. And as we are approaching the Highway 73, Highway 69 interchange, I will point out that even though the roads are still jagged and still need a desperate repair, progress has been steadily coming along, especially with the posts for the overpass. So even though it's nowhere near done, progress is slowly and surely being made. But as always, exercise extreme caution as you enter any construction zone or area. Give yourself adequate following room. Keep your eyes open, check your surroundings a lot more frequently. And when you do travel, make sure you travel fast enough to see any kind of hazards, whether it's nails, boulders, rocks, potholes, whatever the case may be. However far you can see, make sure you are able to steer clear of any and all hazards. As you can see, the traffic buildup to go from 73 to 69 exit ramp is pretty considerable here. It's even more considerable on work days whenever people are rushing up to work. So again, exercise caution, especially when you know, or even if you don't know, you're still able to see that the terrain is uneven. If you see the terrain is uneven, give yourself more room to avoid hazards and ease stress off of your suspension system. Immediately past the interchange, I had to make my first pit stop. We will get back to Highway 69 going up to Beaumont soon enough. Did you know that on the north side of Port Arthur, Texas, where we are, there is a street that goes from Highway 69 over to Twin City Highway called Jimmy Johnson Boulevard? And yes, that is named after Pro Football Hall of Fame coach Jimmy Johnson, born in Port Arthur, Texas. Most of the time I do observe people taking this acceleration ramp and taking it, as a means to get up to highway speed before you even get to the highway, and that is exactly what you're supposed to do. But on the rare occasion, some drivers don't even get to 35 miles per hour when they get to the highway pavement, and that creates a much more dangerous scenario. So please, make sure you get to highway speed before you even get to the pavement. It'll be safer for you and the drivers behind you. Before I got to the art exhibit, I knew I was getting hungry. I had to make another stop to grab some grub before I got up to Lamar. Now there are a couple of restaurants around the Lamar area, not very many, but a couple. But I was really craving something along the lines of a Texas born and bred treasure. And right here on Nederland Avenue in Nederland is the most famous Texas treasure out there. And yes, I am talking about Whataburger. From Whataburger.com. More than 7 decades ago, an adventurous and determined entrepreneur named Harmon Dobson had a bold idea to serve a burger so big it took 2 hands to hold, and so good that after a single bite customers couldn't help but exclaim, "What a burger!" He named his humble burger stand, located on Ayer Street in Corpus Christi, Texas, Whataburger. The golden age of drive-ins and American automobiles was just getting started back in August 8, 1950, when Harmon Dobson opened Whataburger No. 1. This tiny burger stand offered something people had never seen, a burger that was so big they had to hold its 5-inch bun with 2 hands. It was an instant success, and Harmon began to expand the business to other markets. In 1955, Harmon married Grace Williamson, and they became Whataburger's first couple. Together they raised 3 children, Hugh, Lynn, and Tom. By the end of the decade, Harmon would open Whataburger 21 in Pensacola, Florida. It was the first Whataburger restaurant outside of Texas. By 1960, Whataburger had 17 restaurants. A year later, the first of the familiar orange and white striped A-frames was built in Odessa, Texas. The menu grew as well, with french fries and hot pies being added in 1962. Tragedy struck the Whataburger family in 1967 when a plane crash took the life of Harmon Dobson. The Dobson family and their extended Whataburger family rallied around and supported Grace as she took over the business. The 70s was a decade of Whataburger milestones. Under the leadership of Grace Dobson, the company thrived and grew. The number of locations doubled to more than 200 restaurants. The first drive-thru was installed in 1971. The Whataburger Jr. was added to the menu, as were jalapenos and onion rings. And a new building design, which retained the spirit of the original A-frame, was unveiled. This is the era in which country music legend Mel Tillis started appearing in TV commercials for the company, a role that would continue well into the 80s. At the end of 1980, Whataburger opened its 300th restaurant. 2 years later, 3 Corpus Christi locations began operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, much to the delight of hungry patrons. New menu additions soon followed, including the breakfast on the bun, the water chicken, and now the famous breakfast taquitos. The beloved nickel mug, now a classic piece of Americana, debuted as a promotion which was supposed to last 1 year, but ended up running 14 years. And by the end of 1989, Whataburger was serving hot and fresh food at 440 different locations. Whataburger saw a change in leadership for the first time since the 1990s as Tom Dobson, Harmon's son, took over as president and CEO. A new host of menu items were unveiled, including the Whata Meal, the A1 Thick and Hearty Burger, cookies, biscuits, chicken strips, and more. The company also passed the 500 store threshold, making it the nation's 8th largest hamburger chain. The very first Whata Games, the company's biennial burger competition for team members, was held. And on May 6, 1999, Whataburger by the Bay opened in Corpus Christi as a tribute to Whataburger's upcoming 50th anniversary, boasting 6,000 square feet, stunning water views, and a life-size bronze likeness of Harmon Dobson. The Whataburger by the Bay, the flagship restaurant, is a fitting tribute to an amazing man. On August 8, 2000, Whataburger proudly celebrated its 50th anniversary with 575 restaurants in operation and millions of fans all over the country. In 2001, the 77th Texas legislature officially recognized what Texans had already known for more than 50 years. Whataburger was officially designated a Texas treasure. New specialty items included the Whataburger Patty Melt and the Honey Barbecue Chicken Strip Sandwich. Whataburger Field, home of the Corpus Christi Hooks baseball team, celebrated a groundbreaking ceremony with Brace throwing out the first pitch. Sadly, in 2005, Whataburger family members mourned the loss of Lady Grace, as she was called by many. Whataburger moved its home office to San Antonio, Corpus Christi in 2009. In 2020, Whataburger's 70th anniversary year, curbside pickup and delivery options launched. The company's first food truck was unveiled, and our new large unit prototype was opened. Next year, we awarded over $90 million in bonuses to our family members, we call employees, to thank them for their extraordinary service during the pandemic. We also elevated general managers to operating partners, serving as the face of Whataburger in their communities, connecting and creating relationships with local schools, businesses, and nonprofits. In our 8th decade, we entered new markets including Kansas City, Nashville, Colorado Springs, and Las Vegas, expanding to more than 1,000 restaurants across 15 states. Despite all these changes, we are sticking to what got us here, serving it hot and fresh 24/7. Treating our customers right, being proud of everything we do, and never forgetting where we started. Whataburger is more than a burger chain. It is a place that feels like home to more than 50,000 employees or family members. I'll be honest with you. If that little history about Whataburger didn't make you hungry, I don't know what will. We're coming up at the end of this ride as we are about to exit Highway 69 and get onto MLK Drive, which will take us up to the Lamar University campus. I will admit, about 15 or so years ago, when football returned to Lamar University, it was really good to see the full collegiate football experience come back in full force here in Beaumont. If you've never experienced that, it is quite an experience. I mean, the football game is great and everything, but you got throwing the bands, the spirit squads and everything. It's like a major celebration of the university. If you, whether you're a college student, a dropout, or a graduate, or a postgraduate, doesn't matter. If you really like the environment of where you studied, you just want to come back to it over and over again and enjoy it. So, we're going to wrap this one up. Hope y'all enjoyed this ride, and if I made you hungry with the Whataburger commentary, good. That's what I was supposed to do. Make you hungry for some good old Whataburger. Y'all enjoy the rest of this ride, and I'll see you next time. Take care, God bless, and enjoy the ride.